Hey, hey, and welcome to the From Power to Peace show. I am Christina Wessendorf, and I'm doing this because I am made to support powerful leaders just like you to create the deeply loving relationship to the family and partners, and to shift from the person you have to be to the person you truly, truly are. And today I'm super excited to be here with a very special expert, ILONA SELKE. Hi, Ilona.
Hi, dear Christina. Thank you for having me on your show. And it's a great, awesome topic. Peace starts on a personal level, and a lot of relationships don't have it. So yes, as a matter of fact, I was shocked to find the statistics that in Romania, every 5 days, a woman gets beaten to death. A woman told me that her own sister-in-law, she's American, but her own sister-in-law, who is Indian, was beaten to death in Austria, living with her Indian husband in Austria, who happened to have gotten involved in alcohol, which so often is the case, and she got beaten to death. A
Wow.
fate that women have faced, and I think bringing peace into relationship is actually absolutely, totally world necessary.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
So,
it's a pretty scary proposition.
mm,
Um, so, when and what we need to do to break through our genetic fire, to utilize it to create the hearth, to build the nutritious home life instead of the destructive part. That's what we are facing, and different, you know, cultural backgrounds have different amounts of dominance between the masculine and the feminine, and we are still on a planet that is fairly primitive
mm,
in that regard.
right? So, for you who's watching, Ilona Selke is a nationally best-selling author, seminar leader, lecturer, musician, and CEO, co-founder of Living from Vision, a company she has running with her husband since 1988, as well as the owner and creator of the Shambhala Retreat Center in the North Shore of Bali. She and her husband owned a dolphin research boat in Florida for over 10 years and lived by a dolphin beach in Hawaii for 12 years. She wrote about her extraordinary dolphin research in two of her books. She inspired thousands of people worldwide to discover the powers of the consciousness, to understand and apply quantum understanding of our universe. And what is more important, she teaches step by step how to apply the quantum principle to create a successful life. So, this is absolutely awesome, and really, I'm so happy to have you here. So,
And I love how you speak and the passion and the beautiful warmth that you bring to the plate. The feminine energy that's empowered. And I'm grateful for your theme that you have for this, because peace starts with us individually, right? But how do we do it when we're confronted with anger within ourselves or
right,
frustration?
right.
Yep.
I would love exactly to start here, Ilona. So, I mean, you have an amazing journey behind you on the research how to manifest our heart dreams, and I would love that you give a small part out of your journey.
Some
Yeah, exactly. Some maybe one small
highlights.
story, how what you experienced and how actually did you came to this point where you can support so many people today.
Well, if I were to summarize it into the one fundamental thing in my life that made this life that I'm leading right now possible, I would say it's two things. It's in general discovering the power of consciousness, the power of our own emotional, mental, and spiritual consciousness,
Mm,
and how when we purify our emotions, our mind, and are aligned with the higher forces, that then we become aligned with our true purpose. And we stop being ego bound, but we start serving a greater whole. And when we bring I would say the divine, whoever is watching can probably relate to that in some way, through the soul into the personhood, we become an agent of change. And of course, we face in the process our own challenges. So there are three things that really mattered in my life. One was training to become inner aware, and that was psychological training as well as spiritual training. Number two was being in a relationship where the relationship became the diamond polishing process. And in that, one of the most important techniques I ever learned was non-violent communication. It's based on Marshall Rosenberg's work, and he, of course, took it into war-torn areas. But when my husband and I learned that technique of listening with compassion and speaking in a way that's non-judgmental, but honestly becoming aware of your needs, instead of saying, you just want to da-da-da-da-da, when you da-da-da-da-da, it's like, when you do this, I feel this. What I need is this. And a lot of conflict comes from the shame of not wanting to express one's needs and not listening to another person's needs. So learning to honor your own needs, expressing them, and learning to honor another person's needs and working to work together was number two. And number three was the work by Dr. Vern Wolf, Holodynamics, the transformation of the negative emotions and traumas, wherever we found them, made a lot of them in childhood, to go, and it can happen any moment, right? Here's a guy that cuts me off on the highway, or a woman. Here is, my husband saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, whatever it is, my child not cooperating. Triggers happen on a daily basis. But the beauty that I found with the work of Dr. Vern Wolf, which we integrated into the work Living from Vision that you spoke about, which we teach worldwide on how to manifest a good life, is you communicate with the anger, the frustration, the hurt, and you feel it. First, you start by being honest with yourself and feel it, and then communicate with it. We can get into that later. But you asked about the three most important, in summary, how did I get to where I am? I learned that our emotions and our mind function holographically, and that when we are aware of our feelings and transform them into their higher potential, into their positive expression. Being late on a train made me angry, frustrated. I wrote in my book, Wisdom of the Dolphins, when I transformed the feeling and asked what did it really want, it told me it wanted to arrive on time. And now, later on, I will tell you more about this. The miracle of miracles happens. We realize that when we change our feelings into a positive energy, the physical world starts to change, start to physically change around us. What we truly feel inside will reflect itself outside. It'll come, the right words, the right people, the right things. Suddenly things are on time and we don't even know how. And those are the three, if you want to say summary, I hope I did that fast enough. These are the three most important things. Connect with spiritual awareness, whatever that may mean to everybody. To me, that meant becoming aware of the subtle dimensions into God. 2, nonviolent communication with Marshall Rosenberg and the holographic universe, living from vision, and how Dr. Vern Wolf's work of how to transform negative energy into positive energy.
Wow. I would say there's a lot of inputs, and I would love to deepen something you said in the middle. You said, like, I think you said our needs, our thoughts are holodynamic, right?
Mm-hmm. Holographically dynamic. Mm-hmm.
Holographically dynamic. I would love that you tell us a bit more about it, because I feel this is a key.
Yeah, and I write about it in all of my books, including my children's book, because it doesn't have to be complicated. but the understanding is vast-reaching. On the practical side, what we need to understand is that our thoughts and foremost our emotions, and especially our subconscious energies, whether they're thoughts, beliefs, or feelings, send out a resonant field, and like a blueprint, right?
Mhm.
So it's like a blueprint that's being sent out, and then, as quantum physics explains to us, there is no solid structure, no solid atom. The deeper we go, we come from atom to electrons to plasma, and then there is just empty space, and it's like, holy moly, there is no solid universe. But what does happen, and what quantum physicists have found out, and this is the most recent research, just happened this year, is what the observer expects to see will happen. And they just now, I mean, there was the 1990 and 1984 Maryland experiment that I write about in my book, Wisdom of the Dolphins. And they do the split photon experiment where they send it in two different directions at the speed of light. When they measure A to be one thing, they know B is simultaneously going to be the same, because somehow these photons are capable of communicating at a higher speed than twice the speed of light. Einstein said that's not possible. Quantum physics proves it's possible. What they just, Christina, proved in the last year is even more phenomenal. They said, okay, good. Let's just assume two people are watching now. One of the scientists is expecting A to be A, and the second scientist is expecting it to be B. I'm just giving a rough representation. It was an experiment on testing whether a particle behaves as a wave or as a particle. The expectation, even when a single photon goes through a slit, it behaves like a wave. Now, depending on the observation's expectations, it behaved at once what A thought and what B thought, and each got their results. Each got whatever they expected at the same time. So that means our thoughts pull out of the ethers which we need and what we expect. That which we put out, like, have you ever played an E on a piano, like a really low E? You'll find that all the other E's start vibrating on the piano. It's called co-resonance. Now, when we emanate love, guess what we're going to see? When people drive a Audi or a W or a Mercedes or whatever, they go, oh, suddenly they start seeing all the same cars, or they start thinking they may want to buy whatever. And then they start seeing all those cars. In a way, it's holographically dynamic in that what we resonate to is what we see, and that's what becomes true. It gets more phenomenal. It gets more phenomenal. However, you wanted to know holodynamics. What is that? It's holographically dynamic, and it means as below, so above. As in the small part, which is my emotional body, my mental body, my subconscious, so above, so outside of me. It means when I change the inside, the outside also starts changing, because everything works together.
Yeah, and this is super interesting, and I would love to give it to the person who's watching now. So means that when I have a bad relationship with my mother, for example, okay, and I'm frustrated and I'm just super sad, and I feel that it's not changing, and I even don't know how to change, right? And maybe it's all her fault. So what you say is finally because it's somehow my mindset that it's creating the situation, and you could shift this with this holodynamic understanding of your world.
Right. So let me give you two examples of two guys who came to one of our seminars. It was we called it the Relive seminars, and we took people to look at family dynamics. And one of the journeys was to go into a really quiet, deep journey where they looked over the timeline and looked at what emotional traumatic impressions were made that left the relationship the way it is, right? So there was this guy. He was a Jewish New York guy. And the nicest thing that his father ever did in his life ever was to buy him one Christmas, a Christmas toy, one Christmas. And the worst thing that happened is the toy broke as the kid played with it. The father took the toy, returned it to the store, and cashed in the money and kept the money. The kid was without the toy. It was as good as if he had never, I mean, it was worse than never getting one because now he lost the only precious gift that the father had ever given. Naturally, he wasn't very happy with his father for the rest of his life either. So he's now in the seminar and he goes, and what we do is what we take people, when we find a moment of imprint like that, we ask them to rise to a place of planning. Everybody seems to know where that is. And we ask them to call in their imaginary higher self, whatever that may be like. All people seem to know what that is. They call in their higher self. Now we call in the other players. In this case, the higher self of the dad into the place of planning, right? Guess what? Most of us have cooked up the plan to have experiences, but looking from that perspective, him and his dad were like, well, when we asked him, what did you really want to learn? What did you want to practice? And it was like love, forgiveness, understanding, sharing the father from that level was like, oh no, what did I do? Oh, I'm so sorry, son. Oh, the son is now getting the forgiveness moment of understanding that both were struggling with imprints, most likely not only from this lifetime, but from others or from their own father or whatever. Now they exist at this level at hyperdimensional space in the place of planning, right, where they communicate the level of love that they never expressed on a human level. We bring this as a healing energy into the now point, like let's say a heart, a red heart or a red rose. And this understanding now goes and touches all the DNA memories and goes, oh, I'm so sorry, and brings it into the future, into the now. Now the guy's happy, had a great session, gets up, goes home, comes home, has a message on the answering machine. What he hears for the first time in his life is his dad said how much he loved him. He expressed in some ways his love. He's like, oh my God, he calls us up and he said, you wouldn't believe what happened. This happened within a short time at two different guys from two different seminars. So it's really vibrant in my mind. It's happened so many times I've had where people went back to the grandfather and talked to the grandfather and said, well, why were you so abusive? What would happen? You know, what did you really want? Where do you feel this? And then I remember this one session with this one client. The grandfather was forced to work in a coal mine because he had to provide. But what he really wanted to do was have the freedom to hike the world, to have like walking boots. So my client liberated his imaginary grandfather in his imaginary past and let him have the freedom that he always wanted, and forgave him for the pain he created, the abusive behavior that he gave to his mother that went on generationally, because the guy was so frustrated not living his freedom. And from a higher perspective, they understood and had the love that they couldn't have on this level. And now the grandfather had already died, right? So it didn't matter whether he had a now good relationship with his grandfather or not, but it affected the man now. His imprint, the grandfather who wasn't free to move, also imprinted on this grandson, right? Now the grandson carried the hologram unconsciously from the grandfather. And the violence that was still pertinent in this grandson, now adult man, was tied in with the frustration of the grandfather who didn't get to live his freedom. Taking it through the steps of transforming the negative into the positive, and go, oh, that's what you wanted. Thank you. Can we thank the old energy because it really wanted something beautiful? We transform it, absorb it, and now the grandkid, now adult man in his 30s, goes, no more need for violence. You see, things can start in pasts, either in this past or even in longer pasts, where we are handed down holographic imprints emotionally and mentally, to where the person, when they access that memory, even if it is the memory for the grandfather, affects their healing now and allows them to be peaceful in the now relationship with the people surrounding him.
Wow. So I would like to summarize shortly, because it's an amazing example, and so I think there are a lot of very, very deep points. So first of all, you said that it is possible to create a harmony with somebody in the past, right? Or
it's an inside job, right? So what I'm saying is, the harmony doesn't have to start in me sitting down anybody else. Harmony starts in me clarifying where my frustrations are. Maybe I took them over from my grandfather, my grandmother, my ancestors. Maybe it's in this lifetime where I got frustrated, hurt, sad, traumatized. Starting in healing our traumas in ourselves changes the behavior of the people outside of us, because that's what the life is about. We find the reflection outside of us that we carry within. So we can ask ourselves, what am I reflecting, and how is it not serving me? And what am I emanating? To get to that point, to realize that we are the creator of our life and that we co-create reality, is quite a job. So it's better to read books about people who have gone through those journeys. That's why I write the books, to give examples of hope and magic, to where you go, oh, I see the connection. See, I can give you a mouthful. We can talk about this. I can teach. I have a children's book out. I have a children's app that teaches children with a short 50-page children's book and 3 guided meditations, this very technique. I have children who grew up with this technique now, who are now in their mid-30s, who tell me how now it has affected their entire life. So they now feel that they can create their dreams because they learned how to transform their negative emotions and to focus on positive ones.
And here is what I would love to know a bit more about it. So practically, do you have like 1, 2 small advices what you who's watching now could try to apply tomorrow? Like, I have this, right? I have this this bad relationship with my mother. I'm frustrated, and I want to start to think positive and shift positively now.
All right. Well, apart from the fact that I do think it takes a little bit more than just a 1, 2, 3 thing, but let me teach you a 1, 2, 3 step thing you can do when you encounter a moment of frustration, and you can do it in retrospect. Later on, maybe you can even be aware and just do it in the moment. So it's 3 words, pretty easy to remember. You might want to learn a 5th and a 4th and a 5th word too, but it's 3 words: stop, look, choose. And let me start describing. I ask you, Christina, what do you do when you watch a movie that's a terror movie or horror movie or whatever? What do you do?
Oh, when I watch a horror movie, what scares me, I think I would try to...
What would you do?
Right? I think I would try to imagine that it's not real.
Well, it isn't, because it's a film, right? Yeah, exactly. First thing you would do is like say, stop. And you take a deep breath and you go, that's a film. This is me. Right. That's a film. This is me. So stop, right? All right. So the first thing that really empowers us is the ability to take us out of the movie and say, stop. Well, take 2, stop here. We didn't like how this went. My husband and I have done that, We used to say, stop, stop, stop. Let's take 2. Take 1 didn't go out so well. Let's do take 2. In the future, when you do this regularly, you won't have to do that. Yeah, literally, we did that. So stop. Film isn't going well, but if it already didn't go well and you feel frustrated, you can do this at night by yourself in the bedroom and go, okay, let me remember my film. Oh yeah, there was this frustrational moment. So why don't we walk us through it? Here, just let's do it now. Christina, you and I are going to do this, and I invite everybody watching us to do the same. Go and think of something that didn't go well, that where you might have felt hurt, angry, frustrated, sad, whatever.
Okay.
Could be a small moment, can be a bigger moment, but just to get the concepts, yeah? All right, so you've got something. So close your eyes and just remember that situation. We're now in the film, right? We're going to go back into the movie. Okay, you start noticing, and now notice the feelings that you have while this is going on. The feelings that are arising within you as you remember feeling the feelings in this moment. Maybe it was in your belly, something, in your heart. Okay. And now what we've done is we've stopped, we've looked at the situation and have become aware of what we are feeling, which is the most important and crucial step to do. Slowing down enough in retrospect to feel, what was it really I was feeling? Okay. Now I'd like you to just notice that feeling specifically, that one particular that stands out. And ask that feeling what it actually would have really liked. If it could have what it really wanted, what would that be? And please allow yourself the luxury to letting it be anything you really want. All the love you want, all the attention, whatever it is, all the peace. And now I'd like you to, and this is the fourth word I'd like you to memorize, to feel what it feels like to get whatever it is you really would like to have had.
Oh, this is a beautiful step. Yeah.
And then just relish in it for a moment and really just absorb that wonderful feeling as if you had already gotten the fulfillment. And it might even give you a couple more insights as you allow yourself to feel that. Maybe some flash of an image or a symbol comes in, and it's like, and just breathe lightly with that fulfilled feeling. That's what you really want. And allow yourself a moment of fulfillment to get that. Deeply absorb it into your feeling body for a moment. And we just shifted from one energy field to another. And you can gently open your eyes when you're ready. How does that feel, Christina?
It feels like a bit reborn, right?
Yeah, right.
It's
reset button.
yeah, exactly, right. So in the beginning I was in the frustration or the sadness, and in the end it's leaving like you said, it's leaving a light feeling, like a joyful feeling.
And what we need to remember is that we create the world from the inside out around us. And if we're capable Now, this is a quick summary, the stop, look, choose, feel technique. Stop, look, choose, and then feel the fulfillment is a summary of a deeper work that Dr. Vern Wolf developed called Learning from Problems. But it's a quick, easy way to shift out of one pattern into a new one. And which one do you think is more likely to create a positive reality around you, Christina?
The last one, the positive one. Yeah.
Trick question, right? Okay,
right.
all right. And when we allow ourselves to step into what we really want, we allow ourselves for a moment to feel the fulfillment, and we become aware of what it is we want. And instead of focusing on the lack, which we know gets us more of the same, we focus on what we really want. And it starts generating the field holographically, emotionally, and becomes the stepping stone into that future.
Ilona, I have a last question. So, what if I'm too shy to go inside of me? Like I don't want to watch the negative again, or I'm a bit afraid to see myself as the ugly monster.
Well, the way I guide people into that is, and you can do it, and each person, let's say I haven't encountered such a shy person yet, but the degree to which people are able to feel themselves, that's something we can train. So just doing, there's a very beautiful book that I read, it was called Flow in the 80s, and it just had people train to become aware of what they're feeling, good or bad, in any moment. So let's just take a good moment, right? Becoming aware of what I'm feeling. So right now, let's do that. You've maybe are.
Yeah,
Yes?
Ilona, we unfortunately don't have so much time now. So I would.
Okay.
Well,
the answer. Let's just say but the answer is, if a person isn't ready to take the deep plunge, and I haven't encountered any such person yet.
Okay.
But we never know. I have worked with people from all nations, from all cultures and all religions. We all are the same. We're all humans, and we are quite well aware of the feelings. So by us as the therapist, maybe when we see the person, if we're okay, we can go like, it's safe, we can express that. But just noticing on a daily basis, I look around, am I looking at the beautiful flower, how am I feeling? I'm feeling happy. I feel this tingling. Becoming aware of feelings is the most important requirement to dive deeper into our capacity to make changes in our emotional body.
Beautiful. Ilona?
Hello? Yeah, I'm here.
So we are recording, so we will cut the video. I'm so sorry.
We were recording, we're no longer recording. You may want to just do an end. Can you put things? Oh yeah, now we're recording. Okay, now I see the record button again. Okay, beautiful. All right. Good, we're back. All right, it happens. You're in Egypt, I'm in Bali. I was seeing myself and then I didn't see you. All right.
Right. So you said that we can train it on a daily basis. And this is a big hope for me because, right, if I'm not used to check inside and if I'm still maybe afraid what will come, what will I see in myself. You told me that you have a gift for you who's watching now to accompany him on this journey, to not be alone.
To accompany people on a daily basis, I would highly recommend doing some kind of quiet time, maybe to begin with 10 minutes. And for that reason, checking in, how am I feeling and what do I really want? Most people aren't really aware of what they really want. They go like, yeah, well, I want a big house and a big job and a big good relationship. and a nice vacation. But what they really want, what motivates them, what makes them get out of bed, and what feels good, a lot of people need some time. So I have an app called the LFV Light app. You can get it here with your link that I'm going to give you free of charge. And on a morning and evening daily basis, you can meditate, listen to it, feel into yourself, and give the gift of the luxury of time to your soul. About 10 minutes only in the morning, 10 minutes in the
Wow.
evening. It's something we can all do. So that's the gift I give to everybody who wants to participate. And I've had great feedback from people. They've like used it, only that, and already made all these changes in their lives, because it's
Wow.
in a way teaching you how to focus your attention on where you want to go. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Ilona. This is absolute amazing. So for you who's watching now, try it out. I mean, it's 10 minutes right in the morning and in the evening, and you have the possibility to change like we did in the exercise from the dark moment to the light moment, and it can just really raise your happiness level. So try it out, take the app,
And
right?
you know what you're speaking about, right? You coach people in how to live from vision, in how to manifest, in how to create their dreams come true.
So exactly, can also say from my own experience, it's just really amazing, and it's really a step forward to the life you want to have and to the things you want to achieve. So
Yes.
right, thanks so much, Ilona. Thanks you for
Thank
watching.
you.
Check also the next interview for the next expert. You have a total other background to give you words and techniques who are really there for you, and they are accompanying you on your way. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.